feet just underneath the hips. Let's allow the toes to point forwards, and we'll allow ourselves to zone in on our breathing. Good. Now, if you can close the eyes, do. I appreciate that you're at home and you may have a lot of busyness going on around you, in which case it's fine to keep your eyes open. It's fine to keep your eyes open anyway. But if you can close your eyes, just allow yourself to just really zone in on how your body's feeling today, and appreciate that it might feel different to the way it felt the last time you did your Pilates. Allowing that breath to come and go in and out of the body. And as it does, we're going to allow ourselves to just seek out any points of tension in the body. And let's have a little look through the body just to check out whether there are any points of tension that you haven't registered this morning. So we'll just allow the head to be nice and relaxed as it floats up towards the space above us. We'll allow the neck to be soft. We'll allow the shoulders to gently melt on down, and the arms really relax from there. Be a sense of softness through the vertebrae as they release on down through their natural curves. Notice any tension around the hips or around the bottom. See if you can take some extra breath and release into that area. Here to start to register where the bottom of your pelvis is, where the pelvic floor is. And we're not going to do anything about that right now. We're just going to be mindful of where that area is. Down through the legs, we've got a softness in the knees, so they're not gripping, they're not working. We've got a sense that the knees are relaxed but not bending, but not locking. Ankles and into the feet. And let's allow ourselves to gently take some weight over the front of our feet, take some weight round to the side, into the back of the feet and around to the opposite side. And we'll take that nice big circle again, gently circling around. Of that circle. Notice if anywhere grips or tightens as you make that big circle. In that place, allowing that circle to gently spiral inwards, and we'll find that place where we've got our weight right in the centre of the 2 feet. Got that softness into the knees. We're going to draw up through the arches of the feet, feeling as though there's a little connection in the bottom of the soles of the foot. Softness in the knee. So bringing our attention to our pelvis, we'll allow ourselves to gently tip the pelvis forward slightly and tip the pelvis back a little. And if we imagine the pelvis as a bucket of water filled to the top, we're tipping gently forwards and gently back. To find that place where our pelvis isn't tipping out the front, isn't tipping out the back, but you've got a nice level pelvis. And there's kind of that feeling that the tailbone is descending down towards the space between the heels. Nice and tall from there. Feel like the head is a helium-filled balloon floating up for the sky. And we'll lift the shoulders and we'll roll the shoulders back and down. And again, we'll lift the shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down. And taking 2 more like that. Glide the shoulders down the back. We'll bring them a little bit together and a little bit down towards the tailbone. As they glide down towards the tailbone, I want you to allow yourself to find that connection with the pelvic floor. So between the tailbone and the pubic bone, we're going to draw the muscles in and gently up. Connections in place with the pelvic floor in place, we're going to allow ourselves to gently breathe. Let's allow that breath to come wide into the lungs, wide into the rib cage. And I want you to imagine that I've got my hands on your back, on the back of your rib cage, and you're trying to breathe into my hands around the back of your rib cage. Release down by your sides if you haven't already. Take a breath and we'll allow the right arm to float forwards and up. And we'll breathe in as the arm floats back down, changing over to the opposite side. Opening down. Lovely. Good. Keep that going for me. Right arm floats up. And we've got that little connection through the pelvic floor. My internet kicking out then because you all froze for a few seconds. Each side, let's see if we can really get a sense that the right fingertips are lengthening in one direction and the left in the other. And then we'll let the arms release down by our sides. Taking a deep breath for me there, and we'll allow the right ear to dip down towards the right shoulder. And bringing the head back into the centre, up and over to the opposite side. To the right side. Up and over to the second side. And then bringing the head into the centre, we'll just allow the head to gently rotate round. Breathing in as we come back to the centre and rotating round to the opposite side. Side. Coming to the centre, let's just allow the chin to tuck towards the chest and allow the head to become nice and heavy as we start to gently roll down through the spine. Taking a nice deep breath at the bottom and breathing out as we roll back up through the spine. Head comes on top, we lift the shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down and allow both arms to float forwards and up. Lovely, breathing in as we float the arms back down, breathing out, rolling gently down through the spine. At the bottom and then breathing out as we roll back up through the spine. We lift the shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down. Let's allow both arms to float forwards and up. Breathe in as the arms float back down. And from there, take a little bend of the knees, let the arms open out to the side. And we allow the legs to lengthen. Good. And again, releasing through the top of the head, rolling down through the spine. Breath and breathing out as we roll back up through the spine. Roll the shoulders back and down, both arms float forwards and up. As we float back down, bending through the knees, let the arms open out to the side. Lovely, and releasing there. Let's take our side extensions from there. Right fingertips glide down the side of the leg. Lovely, coming through the centre and up and over to the opposite side. So when I do this one, it really reminds me of this little girl who's probably about 20 now, but she was only about 5 at the time, and she said, "Oh, you're like a little flower." So if you imagine that you're a flower growing for the sun and you're reaching up through the top of your head, you really get that sense of being extended out through the torso, letting the top arm lift up and over. A sunflower, but you can be any flower you want. Into the centre, let's draw the fingertips in towards one another, let the shoulders glide down the back. Strength through the core muscles as we allow the rib cage to gently rotate round to the right side. Breathing in as we return back to the centre and then rotating round to the opposite side. Back. back to the centre. Good. Keep that going for me. And if you feel ready to, we'll open the arms out. So we'll allow the elbows to open wide and let the fingers point upwards as if we were a picture in the middle of our picture frame. To add on from here, so as we come back to the centre, we'll just lengthen the fingertips up and then we'll draw the elbows back down and take that rotation again. Hips stay nice and stable and still. Breathing in as we return back, fingers reach on up. Drawing them down, shoulders glide down and we rotate. Beautiful. Keeping those hips nice and stable and still. Gently rotates around. Breath in as we return back to the centre. Finishing off on that left side. In the space with your little finger, let's bring the elbows in nice and tight, working for those shoulders so they're gliding down the back, connecting in through the tummy as we allow the arms to open out. Breathing in as we draw the arms back in. And again, opening the arms gently out. Breathe as we return back. And again, gently opening out. 2 more. Take a moment to check in. We've got that pelvic floor connection. We've got that little connection through the feet. And right hand to circle around and come above the head. So coming around and above the head. Lovely. And circling around, changing over to the other side. So we circle around and we are making sure whatever we've got on our tray in our hand is not going to get spilt all over our head. And then we'll push the hands away from us, pushing through the heel of the hand. Shoulders glide down, we'll gently circle. We've got 3, 2, 1. Direction 3, 2, and change direction 3, 2, 1. Change direction 3, 2. Down and give it a good release. Lovely. Let's take a little bit of balance work. I'm coming onto my mat, which is a little bit scary because it does give you a little bit more of a wobble. So we've got our hips nice and level. We're going to allow ourselves to take a nice deep breath and we're going to allow the right foot to start to float away from the floor. Floating that foot back down, changing over to the other side. And floating back down. Good. So we're changing sides each time. Leg to lift, and then this time we're going to let that knee open out to the side. We're really working on keeping that pelvis nice and still. And floating down, changing over to the other side. The knee lifts, opens to the side. Nice catch. And floating down. Changing again. So we let that knee lift. Knee opens out to the side. Hips stay nice and still. Breathing in as we let the leg return and floating down. Wonderful. Opening out to the side. Good, and floating down. Now this time we'll take some side leg work. So we're going to allow that right leg to open out to the side and then come back in. So we'll have a nice long leg and we'll stretch it away from us. See if you can push out through the side of the foot. Lovely. Stay as long as you can through the torso. So you're going to resist taking a lean for now. Lovely. And again on each side. Right on the right. So we do one or more on the right, one more on the left. And then we'll do the same thing back, going back behind us. So we're going to take the right foot and we're going to stretch that foot back behind us and drawing back back in, changing over to the other side. Push the leg back behind us. There's a little squeeze in the bottom as we draw the leg back behind. And again, lengthening away and drawing in, lengthening away, little squeeze in the bottom. One more on each side. There, just take a little rise to feel as though you're really centred. Combine all three of those into a little balanced sequence. So we're going to allow the right knee to lift and the knee opens out to the side. Bring that foot back in, stretch the foot away from you to the right side. Bringing that leg in and then stretch it back behind you. Hips are nice and level and still. Draw the leg back in, taking a rise. Lift. Hips are nice and level, knee opens out to the side. Coming back to the centre, pushing that leg away. Draw the leg back in and stretch the leg away. Lovely. And one more on each side. We lift. Knee to the side. Coming into the centre. Pushing that leg away. Now if you're feeling ambitious, as you stretch the leg back behind you, just a little through the supporting leg. Reach the arms out in front of you and bring the torso into line with the floor. And drawing the leg back in. Let's change over to the other side. Did anybody else find like a piece of furniture on one of those extremes? I just found the sofa. Pushing that leg out to the side. Taking that behind you. Pushing away. I'm going to move my legs so I don't hit my sofa. Drawing back in. Oh, nice one. Let's take a rise just to centralise ourselves once again. And a little jiggle. Okay, let's bring ourselves down to the floor. We'll bring ourselves onto hands and knees and we'll take some work from there. Releasing through the spine, rolling gently down. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Knees come underneath the hips. Shoulders glide down the back. Let's take a little cat stretch, getting to the spine there. Taking a breath, breathing out as we push the back up into the sky. Let the head drop between the arms, tailbone points down. And then we lengthen out and away. Keep that going. So, when I was doing my dance training, we used to do this cat stretch a lot. And then someone gave me a new focus and it really changed things for me. So for me, feeling as though you're being pulled up from the centre of your spine, having that pull, and then as you lengthen from there, the tail being pulled and the head being pulled. So you're looking for length rather than ever collapsing into this exercise. It made a big difference to how it felt in my spine. So when we're there, we're just going to hold that connection in place. So we've got a nice squeeze in the tummy. Let's take our rotation. So the right hand lifts and we'll weave the hand through the gap between the hand and the knee. And then we'll breathe in as we bring the arm back. Changing to the other side. We lift, feeding the arm through. Breath in as we draw the arm back. Changing over to the other side. Now if you want to, you can open up the arm for the sky and then feed the arm gently through. Breath in as we draw the arm back. Changing over to the opposite side. We open the arm up and feeding through. Good, keep that going for me. Let's do one more on each side. Beautiful, that's lovely. That's nice, Vicky, well done. Yeah, gorgeous, good. Well done, guys. So let's just allow ourselves to sit back onto our heels. We'll lengthen the arms in front of us and just take a moment in the wrists, because I want to do that swimming exercise, but I appreciate that our wrists might need a little moment. Here, why don't we do my favourite? Walking the hands over to the right side and stretching through that left arm. Feel that you can pull into the left hip so you get a really nice sense of extension and length through the left side of the body. Walking the hands across to the opposite side, reaching the right arm across, reaching through the right hip. Hands back into the centre. Let's find that tabletop position, nicely strengthening through the core muscles and allowing yourself to be really long through the spine. Now take a moment to feel that those shoulders are really gliding down the back and the head is extending out and away. We'll take a breath. We'll allow the right leg to slide away from us and breathe in as the leg returns, changing over to the opposite side. Now, take a moment to check that as you transfer your weight from one knee to the other, you're not wobbling through the pelvis. So, if you had your cup of tea balanced on your pelvis, you wouldn't spill it as you transfer from one leg to the other. Our little knee openers from here. So, we'll allow the leg to stretch away from us. Draw that leg back in, and then that knee opens out to the side, and we draw the leg back in, changing over to the other side. Leg stretches away, draw the knee back in, keeping that strength through the core, and let the knee open out to the side. Keep that going for me. Take a moment to feel that the breastbone is lifted, so you're not collapsing into your upper body, but you've got that sense of length. That looks nice, Caroline, good. Stretching away. Opens out to the side. The arms in, we can allow the opposite arm to leg to extend away. Drawing the leg in and allow the arm to open out to the side as you open out through the knee. I bend the elbow just because it feels more symmetrical that way. So we'll allow the arm and the leg to extend away, really lift through the breastbone. So this is the one for me where I start to collapse into the rib cage if I'm not thinking about staying lifted. Add our thread in the needle to this combination if you want to. If you know your glutes are where it's all about today, then stick with that. You can thread the needle through, and you might want to add your opening into the end of that move, and then place the hand down. If you want to, you can keep the leg lifted. So we've got the knee opening out to the side. You can stretch the leg away from you as you feed the arm through. Breathing in. I would suggest putting that leg back down as you take your opening out. Then you've got a bit more sense of grounded. Last one on each side. I know we've been here for a while, guys. That's why I needed your wrist to have a break beforehand. Well done. If it needs a rest, just let it have a moment. Good. Let's just allow ourselves to sit back onto our heels once we're there, and we'll take a moment coming up nice and tall. And for some of us, that will really stretch out our quads. Some people will sit there and go, I don't know what you're talking about. I feel nothing, Emma. Others of us will be screaming as soon as you sit back onto your heels. So just take a few more seconds. Breathe. Nice. And we'll take the right leg forwards. a little tip through the pelvis. So we're going to tip gently forwards, gently back, seeing if we can ask this hip flexor to really release for us, give us a little bit of length. Some of us will find you get to here and nothing moves because the hips are quite tight, and that's okay. Just start to think about tipping forwards and see what happens. You'll find a better sense of balance if you've got your foot slightly further forwards and if there's a little bit more of a gap between the knee and the foot, so you're a bit wider with your stance. Angle. Good. And then if you want to, come on forwards. Just check for me as you come forwards that as you come on down, your knee is not going over your toe. So you've got a kind of ankle and knee alignment there. So that front foot shouldn't have the knee coming forwards over it. That's it, Andy. Give it a hoik. And come on back. Good. Let's change over to the other side. So we'll allow that other leg to tip to come forwards. Further forward the foot goes, the more balanced you'll feel. And again, tipping forwards and back. I realise on this angle it really doesn't help, does it? Sorry. Tipping forwards, tipping back, getting that nice sense of length down the front of that hip. Yes, lovely. So this is surprisingly challenging to the balance. Wobbling is what I'm saying there. And then let's allow ourselves to come forwards. That's much better, Andy. Good. And then bringing that hand down. Allow our hip to gently ease into that stretch. Releasing back from there. Let's allow ourselves to come all the way to the floor, and we'll take a little bit of upper body stretch and upper body lengthening. So let's allow the elbows to go wide and we'll let the fingers point forwards. We'll allow the nose to hover just an inch away from the floor. Ourselves to think about those deep core muscles. In this position, we've already thought about our pelvic floor muscles, but what I want you to do is take a moment to just do a little cough. So you're here and you're going to take a little cough, and again, notice where in your pelvis switches on, very quickly switches on as you do your cough. So you can go for that again. So you should find that your pelvic floor starts to take a little switch on as you take your cough action. What I want you to do now is I want you to switch in those muscles without having to cough. So you've got that little pelvic floor connection, and that's all we're going to do. We're just going to think about keeping the pelvis nicely engaged. We're going to look to keep the pelvis absolutely still. The elbows are nice and wide, and we'll allow the nose to be hovering just an inch away from the floor as we look down at the ground. Take a deep breath. As you breathe out, shoulders glide down the back, head extends out and away, and we'll breathe in as we float back down. Shoulders glide down the back, head lengthens out and away, breastbone gently lifts, and we breathe in as we float back down. So we'll keep that going. Now here we're looking to create flexibility through the upper back. So ladies, we're thinking about roughly where our bra clips into itself. Most of you gents will know where that is anyway. So just thinking about whereabouts your clip point would be, that's where we're thinking about creating the movement. Lower than that, we're looking to stay nice and stable. Ourselves to lengthen the one arm and we'll roll onto our side. Let's find a really nice long alignment here. So we'll allow the bottom arm to be nice and long, as if you're trying to reach towards the skirting board with that bottom arm. Some of us will find that the arm will be a bit further forward. See if you can really get it up and above you. If that kind of range of movement is out of your range for the shoulder, bring the arm forwards and use a cushion to prop your head up. So we're there. We've got the toes slightly in front of us so that they're not swinging back behind us. Take a deep breath, both legs stretch away. Finding that posture, allow yourself to lengthen. Good. So we can either let the hand rest down on the floor if we need it for a little bit of extra stability. We can let the arm rest by our side, or if you feel you want to, we'll lengthen the arm up for the sky. Good. Keep breathing for me there. Now let's take a little slow motion kicking action, a little move forwards with the top leg, and then we're going to breathe in as the leg returns. Keep that going for me. Let your challenge be letting the hips be nice and still, and keep this shoulder nice and still. So if your arm starts to rock forwards and backwards, you know there's a bit of movement either in the hip or in the shoulder. Let's float everything down, softening through the knees for me, and allow the top hip to tip gently forwards. We'll scoop in through the tummy. We'll allow the top knee to overlap the bottom knee, squeezing in and allow the top knee to lift. Good. 4 more of those. So as we lift and lower the knee, see if you can keep your hip really nice and still. Notice if that hip starts to sort of tip open. We don't really want that. We want it to stay really nice and still, and then we'll get much more of a sense in the bottom. The 4th one. Gluing the knees together, allow both feet to lift and lower. And lower. Lovely. 3 more there. Beautiful. Keeping that nice connection in through the tummy. Comes up and we hold it up there. Let's take the knee and extend the leg away. Lovely. Drawing the leg back down and float the knees back. Now again, lift. This bottom toe stays nice and still if you can. And floating down. 1 more. And extending away. Floating the legs back down. Let's take a little stretch through the front of the thigh. So we'll take hold of the foot, bring the foot nice and close to the bottom, and we'll stretch the leg away. So some of us don't find that transition very helpful. Other people find it better to stretch the leg away from them and then kick the foot up towards the bottom. If that works for you, that's great. If you want to grab a band, wrap it around your foot, around your ankle, and then bring it into you, that's great as well. So similarly to as we were doing our stretch through the on the kneeling position, we want to get that sense that the hips kind of pushing forwards, are kind of tucking under through the pelvis, so we get that lengthening down the front of the hip as well as the front of the thigh. And releasing. Good. If you've got a cushion and you want to use it, pop the cushion underneath your head now, and we'll take our opening up like a book. Nice deep breath, and the top arm gently opens. And we breathe in as the arm returns. Add in that little chalk circle so the fingertips stay connected, and we'll open out and above the head all the way around. circling back around. Now, from there, we're going to come up onto our elbow. We don't do these very often because most of us hate them. So we're going to allow ourselves to bring the elbow underneath the shoulder, and we'll allow the hips to be on top of one another. Now, the knees can be in front of you, or you can allow the knees to go in line with the pelvis. Or if you're feeling really ambitious today, you can stretch the legs out fully. Take a nice deep breath. As you breathe out, lift that rib cage up for me. Now, as the rib cage lifts up, just take a little look. You might need to bring your elbow in a little bit closer because suddenly it's miles away from you. Gorgeous. Good. Shoulders glide down the back. We're really lifted through the rib cage. And we can feel that there's loads of work going on down the back and into the core. Beautiful. So we can stay here and feel poised and gorgeous, or we can allow ourselves to lift the pelvis and reach the arm up. Breathe in as we float back down. And we lift on up. Now, as we come back down, let's try not to plonk. Let's try to make it nice and soft as we come down and then coming up. Lovely. Now, this time we're going to hold it up there and we're going to take a little thread and a needle like we did on hands and knees. So we'll bring the arm through. If anybody's thinking my elbow is screaming at me, do come down and readjust. If it's your elbow, oh, we don't want that to be painful. This is the third one. Floating down. Woo! That's horrible, isn't it? Give them a good roll out, a good shake out if it needs it. Give it a little jiggle. Woo! Well done, guys. Well done. Okay, so we'll take the legs wide when we get there. Lift the shoulders and we'll glide the shoulders down the back. Lovely. And then the head just gently tips over to the right side. And coming through the centre, up and over to the opposite side. Oh, worked, didn't it? Yeah, just allow yourself to gently ease the hands forwards. A bit of a stretch in the hip. If your legs don't like this position, you'd rather be in a diamond stretch, that's fine. Again, we'll still get a nice stretch, hopefully in the inner thigh, in the groin area. And we might find that with a little bit of breath, we can ease that bit further forwards. Lifting up tall, bring the legs a little bit closer, so they're not completely touching, but they're a little bit closer. Good, and when we get there, let's allow the head to just look to the right side, coming back to the centre and looking over to the left side. Each side. It's really working through the core to allow ourselves to find that length. Good, and then just take a little chin tuck from here. Lengthening across the back of the neck as you find that sense of length. And we lift up nice and tall. Now, we're going to take our spine twist from here. So we can draw the fingertips together and allow the shoulders to glide down the back. Take a deep breath. Let the rib cage gently rotate around. And then breathing in as you return back to the centre. And then rotate around to the opposite side. Listen into your body. We want a nice lengthened spine. If after one or two you start to feel that your back is pulling backwards, then give those knees a little bend. Just do it as much as you can with the lengthened legs and then start to soften into the knees. Bit more challenge when you're there. We'll allow those elbows to go wide, let those fingers point upwards. Beautiful. Going wide, just look to get those shoulders to really melt down the back. When you come back into the centre this time, release the arms, give it a little jiggle, jiggle the legs in a bit closer, hamstrings. Woohoo! We love our hamstrings, don't we? Let those shoulders glide back and down, lengthening through the torso. For some of us, having the legs lengthened and our spine lengthened is quite a challenge. We can feel stretch down the backs of the legs and sort of a challenge in the back. Others of us have got really stretchy hamstrings, in which case you can bring the hands further forwards and you can start to allow the chest to start to ease towards the floor. Legs. I suppose they're in the same place, so it's fine. So the shoulders are gliding down the back. We're looking to allow the head to extend out and away. And you're seeing if you can ease your breastbone closer towards the floor, closer to the legs with each breath. And hopefully you'll find that if we stay sitting in this stretch and we just allow ourselves to ease into it without sort of bouncing or tugging, we just allow ourselves to gently ease into it. After a little while, we'll start to melt that little bit further into the stretch. And lifting tall then. Let's change over. We're going to take our side bends on the other side. So we'll come around to the other side. You just need to make sure that you're on the second side. Otherwise you'll really hate me on one side, won't you? So when we're there, once again lining ourselves up. So we're on our elbow. I forgot to say, if you've made your elbow stuff or your shoulder just really hates this, you can allow yourself to be up high. That'll be harder on the wrist, but you can be up high, and again, see if you can get the hand underneath the shoulder. Brilliant. So we're there. We take a nice deep breath. The rib cage is lifted, the shoulders gliding down the back, the head's extending out and away. We are poised and gorgeous. Take a deep breath in and we lift. And we breathe in as we float back down. Beautiful. Yeah, lovely. And we lift. That's it. Lovely. Wonderful. One more. We lift on up. Hold it for me there. We're going to thread the needle through. Coming through. Nice sense of work through the obliques. We'll be looking fabulous in our bikinis if the rain ever stops. And floating gently down. Let's allow ourselves to come all the way to the floor. Once again, lining up in a really nice long line. Whew, it's never happened to me before. I'm longer than I thought. Let's allow the shoulders to be on top of one another, hips to be on top of one another, feet just slightly in front of us. Nice and deep with the breath there, and we'll stretch and lengthen those legs out and away. So, if when you get into this position, you feel a strain in the neck, see if you can let your head rest down a little bit more, so make the head feel heavier. It might be that there's just too much strain going on in the core muscles, they're working really hard, and the shoulders are trying to help too much, in which case let that bottom leg be resting down onto the floor. Otherwise we'll keep both the legs lengthening and reaching. We'll see if we can allow ourselves to either hold onto the floor with a little just a really gentle fingertip touch, or the armrest by our side, or maybe reaching up to the sky. Nice and deep with the breath. Top leg starts to move forwards in that slow motion action. And we breathe, draw the leg back in. Now, sometimes in this exercise also, people feel really uncomfortable in that knobbly bit of the thigh bone. My favourite part of the body, the greater trochanter. I love that name. So what I want you to do, if you feel that knobbly bit of your thigh bone, rather than thinking about lifting further with the legs, think about stretching further with the legs. Almost put your weight right into your feet rather than the hip, and then it should take the strain away a little. And floating the legs down, softening through the knees. Tipping that top hip forwards, we've got that nice squeeze in through the tummy, top knee starts to lift and lower. So we've got the toes glued and the knee lifts. See if we can get that hip to stay nice and still. I find it helpful to just hold on to it, hold it in place, and then the abdominals seem to sort of I think this is 5. Let's glue those knees together and we'll allow both the feet to lift. Gently lower, squeezing nicely in through the tummy. Feet lift, beautiful, and lower, good. Taking 3 more there. Toes lift, hold it for me there, let the knee lift. Stretch the leg away, draw the toe back in and float the knee back down, and again we lift, stretch away, draw the toe in, knee lowers. Let's take, we're taking 3 more. Floating the legs down, let's take hold of that foot. So we can either bring the leg in, give it a little hug and then grab hold of the foot. That'll sometimes release a few of the muscles to allow us to really get that leg in. Or people prefer to stretch the leg away and then kick in through the knee. Grab hold of that foot, that's it, lovely. Looking to get more length down the front of this thigh. Now as it points forwards, it's going to find more stretch the further back you take the leg. So I appreciate that working the leg to point down towards the wall might be quite a big range of movement for you. If you find that your knee just doesn't want to pull backwards, this is when you want to be practicing a bit more often. Your cushion, pop it underneath your head and then allowing both the arms to come forwards, taking that opening up like a book. Nice deep breath, let the top arm gently open. As the arm draws back in, the arm open. And if you want to, you can add in that little chalk circle, keeping the fingertips connected, drawing the arm around, and circling back. And then we'll allow ourselves to come onto our backs. And when we get there, we'll allow the feet to be on the floor and the knees bent. If you want to keep the cushion just underneath your head, you can do. If you know you don't need it, then by all means get the cushion out of the way. If you find that when you're in this lying position, your chin kind of juts upwards, I'd suggest the cushion might give you that little bit of extra length through the back of the neck and it might feel quite nice. Let's zone in on the pelvis. We'll imagine that the pelvis has got or the abdomen has got a clock face on it. 12 o'clock is the belly button, 6 o'clock is the pubic bone. Let's rock from 12 to 6. So we'll rock down, lower back presses into the floor, rolling towards the belly button. And then we'll rock in the opposite direction towards the pubic bone. Take it through those two extremes you're going to keep pelvis really heavily resting into the floor. So we're not going for a full shoulder bridge here. We're just looking to tip the pelvis. And it's quite a tiny action, but there's a lot of pelvic floor initiating going on there to find those two extremes. You might find that one extreme or the other feels not quite as nice as the other extreme. Just register that. As we come back to the centre, we're going to go from the side to the side. So we're working from 3 to 9. So we'll allow ourselves to just tip towards 3, and then we'll come back and we'll tip towards 9. Notice there's movement in the leg. That's a consequence of the pelvis tipping from side to side. So I'm not looking for knee tips here. I'm looking for a movement in the pelvis. That's the instigator. Everything else is just a consequence. In that place where it feels as though the whole of the pelvis is nice and level and our clock face would rest level. We're going to draw in through those pelvic floor muscles. Take a deep breath and glide the right leg away from you. Breathing in as the leg draws back in. Sliding the left leg away from you. Allow the right arm to lengthen up and over the head. Breathing in as the arm and the leg gently return. Keep that going for me. So I just feel like the cushion gets in my way. Opposite arm to leg extends away. Breathing in as the arm and the leg return. Changing over to the opposite side. Side. Hold it for me there. Allow that right knee to lift. Let's bring the knee to hover above the hip socket, bringing the calf to a 90-degree angle. We'll take 3 knee circles here and then 3 in the opposite direction. So pelvis is nice and still, rib cage rests into the floor. Gently stir in that thigh bone within the hip socket. 3 in one direction, 3 in the other direction. So you've got options here. If you find that your knee, your opposite knee is getting in the way, you can always slide it away from you a little. As you slide that leg away, you've still got that neutral spine position, so it's not exaggerating the curve, you're not overextending through the back. Place that foot back down, we'll change over to the other side. So the other thing we want to watch is we want to make sure that our hips stay really nice and stable and still. As you circle the leg, the hips are going to want to tip from side to side. We want to keep them really nice and stable. We've still got neutral spine. And then we'll change the direction of that circle. And floating that leg gently down. Taking a deep breath for me there. Let's draw the right knee in and give it a good hug. Left leg to slide away from us, gliding the leg away. Draw the left knee in, give it a good hug. Slide the right leg away. Both the knees in, give them both a good hug. And as you do, let your lower back press into the floor. When you're here, scoop in through those deep core muscles and we'll allow the arms to rest down by our sides. Now, you may find that when you've got 2 legs lifted, there's a strain in the lower back, in which case work with one foot resting on the floor and allow the other knee to be lifted. Otherwise, we're here in this 2-legged position, the knees are hugging in and the arms are resting by our side. Let's find our modified 2-legged 100 position. So, We'll stretch the legs away from us, squeezing in through the tummy. Just go to that point before you feel as though the tummy's going to dome upwards or the tummy's going to shudder, or you feel as though the back will pop away from the floor. We want to keep the back pressing into the ground. Good. So you've found the place that's right for you. Take a deep breath. As you breathe out, the right leg's going to stretch away as if you were pressing a button on the wall beyond you. You're going to breathe in as the leg returns. If you're working with one leg lifted, do 5 on that side, then change sides. If you're working with 2 legs lifted, we're changing legs each time. We keep to the end of the class to put in the let's keep breathing, guys. Probably should have mentioned that earlier. Keeping that belly button scooping down, so it's really gliding down to meet the spine. One leg lifted, you're still working in neutral. Really good challenge for those transverse muscles, those deep abdominal muscles. On each side. The knees in, give them a good hug. And then we're going to allow the head to curl up towards the knees, and we're going to take a little rock forwards and backwards. This should feel quite nice through your back, like a little massage on your back. If you know this doesn't suit you in your spine, by all means come onto your side, just rest in the fetal position for a moment and then push down on your hands and bring yourself up to a seated position. The rest of us are going to ping up to sitting. Marvellous. There we are. We have pinged. Well done, guys. So from there, honestly, it wouldn't be Friday morning if we didn't have a little bit of a balance position up here now, would it? We're lifting nice and tall. Let's allow the toes to hover just an inch away from the floor. We're going for a parallel one today, so knees just as wide as the hips. Take a deep breath. We'll lift really tall. Let the shoulders glide down the back and be really as lifted as you can. Good. We're here. We're breathing. Right leg stretches away. Draw that leg back in. Change over to the other side. Side. Both legs together. Let's do it. Let's do it. Woohoo! Breathe, breathe, breathe. And reaching the arms out. And floating the legs down. Nice work, guys. Well done. So from there, let's allow the toes to gently tuck under. And we'll gently allow ourselves to rock forwards and back. Press the heels into the ground. Let the head be nice and heavy. And we'll allow ourselves to roll gently up through the spine. Coming up through the vertebrae. Head comes on top last thing of all. When we get there, we'll lift the shoulders, we'll roll the shoulders back and down. We'll take a deep breath in, reaching really tall. And breathe out and we'll let it all go. Give it a good shake out. Well done. Give yourselves a round of applause, everyone. Thank you for your time and your energy.